ukichezanga madoba huku ukitingisha madhudha, bila wewe nitanyuria. Wewe ni malalabai, nasinzia kwa riba zako, my painting na kudigi unanidigi love, bila wewe sipati sigino. Wewe ni my painting, bila wewe mimi ni nothing. Nyumbani kwangu nimejaza you are painting. Sipokuona I'm fainting. Nivisanga tuza over 18, sio under 18. Nipeni shande, nichape Monday to Sunday, nakutaka siku zombo, ukicheza lingo tena kwa maringo. Nakutaka siku zombo, ukicheza lingo tena kwa maringo. Pengine me I don't know, niwe na no no, niwe na no no no. Pengine me I don't know, niwe na no no, niwe na no no no. Sengunga maingunga, ngunga maingunga. Sengunga maingunga, ngunga maingunga. Kapeng kamepiga luku, lumbu tuku. Something nakakika luku, lumbu tuku. Kwenye chaji, usinune itimorinadi. Niita top shatter, wengine wakikamwambia tu shut up. Yani kila napokuona, usiku jirani halali. Nivisanga tuza over 18, sio under 18. Nipeni shande, nichape Monday to Sunday, nakutaka siku zombo, ukicheza lingo tena kwa maringo. Nakutaka siku zombo, ukicheza lingo tena kwa maringo. Pengine me I don't know, niwe na no no, niwe na no no no. Pengine me I don't know, niwe na no no, niwe na no no no. Sengunga maingunga, ngunga maingunga. Sengunga maingunga, ngunga maingunga. Shande, nichape Monday to Sunday, nakutaka siku zombo, ukicheza lingo tena kwa maringo. Nakutaka siku zombo, ukicheza lingo tena kwa maringo.
Sweet like you, I'll be proud if you make me your wife. And that's how I'm feeling. the first time I never seen love like this before. Call them is one wide, bumble glide.
Millions of people invest in stocks and commodities, thousands make a living at it, and only hundreds achieve their
My love for you will forever stay the same. Nikiwa kando yako, miles away. We'll be okay, and I promise that soon I'll be here to stay. We'll break down, 'cause it'll be some time before tushikane mikono. And I won't see you often, na siyo kupenda kwangu, ni mipango ya Mungu. But I promise that soon I'll be here to stay. If it's your love, I'm prepared to wait. Nitangoja, na sitachoka, no matter where you are. 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 Nitangoja, na sitachoka, mama, sitachoka, nitakungoja wewe. Oh, sitachoka, mama, no matter where you are. Nitangoja, na sitachoka.
How does HR feel with deal? Like hiring?
La viliisha mapema, mapenzi yashanidhulumu, maisha haya ya sinema. Kwani tutakula mapenzi tu? Swali limenivua heshima. Ipo siku nitafaulu.
kisu kikali saa 5. Nairobi 2015 nikamchagua yeye katikati ya wenzake watano. Nikamuomba kanio namba, moyoni Mungu nikampa moja. She's my number moja. Nikamuomba kaniomba namba, moyoni Mungu nikampa moja. Now she's my number moja. Yani namaanisha kwamba ndo tushawana. Tushawana. Ndo tushawana. Ndo tushawana. Tulipatana Bongo Mikocheni, kwa zangu bichi nalo upepo wa bahari. Alinipita kama meli, anayumba yumba akidondosa kishenzi. Mikocheni, kamfuata utadhani zombie. Habari gani mbona uko lonely? Jina ni gani? Akasema Zari. Nikamwambia aje. Kamwambia kwangu ni kwake, nimshike wapi ndio aje. Taka moyo wangu we wake. Watangoja sana wakidhania tutachana, mina yeye tumeshaivana, na ichapo siku na mchana. Yani namaanisha kwamba ndio tushawana. Na yeye sami tunaye tushawana. Sawana na yeye
nguvu sinaiona, basata wakinifungia theruthi zira nazopata mia filmia. Mjusi ukuta wa parasta na uparamia. Na kama penzi ni chupa la bia, nipe sana we mlevi, niumbe njia, kwa maana we mlezi na unanijulia. Hawana wawezi pakukuibia dia. Pawa, pawa, naishiwa pawa. Penzi lako mizani mizito, naishiwa pawa. Pawa, pawa, naishiwa pawa. Penzi lako mizani mizito, naishiwa pawa. Pawa, 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 naishiwa pawa. Penzi lako mizani mizito, naishiwa pawa. Pawa, pawa, naishiwa pawa. Penzi lako mizani mizito, naishiwa pawa. Nilifeli sekondari kwenda chuo, ila kufeli penzi lako sina hilo chaguo. Yeremia mstari nifunue ufunuo, nikupambe kwa matai mwilini wenguo. Na kama penzi ni chupa la bia, nipe sana we mlevi, niumbe njia, kwa maana we mlezi na unanijulia. Hawana wawezi pakukuibia dia. Pawa, pawa, naishiwa pawa. Penzi lako mizani mizito, naishiwa pawa. Pawa, pawa, naishiwa pawa. Penzi lako mizani mizito, naishiwa pawa. Pawa, pawa, pawa.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Penzi lako mizani mizito, naishiwa pawa.
Good morning, everybody. We are on day 2. This is the early bird session. Really excited to see most of you, especially keeping time. I think as civic educators, it is important for us to be timekeepers. So, karibuni sana. We're going to use this time to get to know each other. This time, I'm not going to ask you to move around. I'm going to come to you. So this is your session to stand up, introduce yourself, where you're from, and your biggest takeout from yesterday's session. So what is the one thing about yesterday's session that hit home for you, you will remember for the rest of your life, it changed your perspective on a lot of things, or was the most exciting session? So this is going to be our interactive session. Wengi wenu, in the last 2 days, you have not said anything. We have those who talk more than others. It is life, it is personality, ni sawa. So this is your chance just to introduce yourself. Maybe somebody has not even heard your voice. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and your biggest takeout from yesterday's session. Is that all right? Tuko sawa hapo? Okay. I will start with this side. This pillar blocks, I don't know. Okay, we'll try as much as possible. So you'll have to stand, guys. Sawa. You'll have to stand because we have a pillar for the people on that other side, so they can see you. So your name, where you're from, and your biggest takeout from yesterday's session.
Good morning, everyone. Mandela Koyanda is my name, from Daraja Civic Initiative Forum, based in Nairobi County. My takeaway home from yesterday's session was national values are tools that are used to safeguard national interests. So I understood that better for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mandela. Pass the mic to your next colleague.
Yes, my name is Jeffet Ojijo. Yesterday, it was really, really packed. But my takeaway, the key one, was what are the national interests and how can we run the issue of the national interest in relation to the UTU. Thank you.
I hope you remember the names. There might be a test after.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joel Mianzi. I work for Daraja Civic Initiatives Forum. Yesterday we had a number of sessions, and what was my key takeaway was the issue of national interest, which has been mentioned. Another thing that I felt it really touched me was the presentation that was made by one of Uraia trustees, and he mentioned one thing that most of us don't like talking about. He said that if you want to know Kenya's problem, then you need to buy a mirror. It means that we are the Kenyans' problems. Most of the time, we know that we live in denial. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning. My name is Ismail Abdul Karim from Slum Peace and Empowerment Center based in Kibra. Yesterday my take home was no international state dictates another nation's national interest. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Omari from Daraja CSO Partner Network. My most key takeaway yesterday was that civic education and public participation are not synonyms. We must, first of all, educate before we engage. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin from Center for Domestic Training and Development. My takeaway for yesterday is that we can have these conversations here, but as long as we do not get to the grassroots, we are pretty much still in the limbo in terms of bringing everyone up in terms of civic education. Everyone needs to be educated, not just within boardrooms and workshops and conferences. So we need to find a way of getting that down there and changing even whether it's the curriculum, the modes of sensitization. We must adapt to the new generation in how they think, using tech and everything in between to make sure that civic education is actually transcended to where it matters most. Thank you.
Very interesting insight. So far, I'm catching Dr. Sylvia's session and the session with Bwanawori and Julius as the most impactful, or rather the one that gave a lot of takeaways. So it's good for our seniors to know that you are leaving an impactful mark in the careers and lives of those who are attending. So for those who have just come in, Karibuni Sana, we are reintroducing ourselves one-on-one and talking about our biggest takeaway from yesterday's session.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Clay Mali from FIDA Kenya. My biggest takeaway yesterday was about UTU. As we have this young generation, I feel that when this UTU goes to the syllabus, it helps these young generations as they grow up, they got that knowledge for them. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And UTU philosophy is the reason we are here. It is actually the theme of this year's National Convention, and it is great to hear that the theme is recurrent. Now, Jane, you'll stand from where you are, you'll come forward.
Yes, so there's a pillar blocking. Oh, okay. And we're twinning.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Jane Serwanga from UNDP Kenya. And just like one of the previous speakers, for me it was interesting to get the history as to why the national interests are not defined in the Constitution, but also
the understanding of the need to have that definition and the alignment to the constitution, the budget, and all of that. So that was key for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. What I like is most of you are educators and you're used to standing in front. I thought you would be a little hesitant to come and introduce yourself in front, but so far when I give the mic, everyone is confident to walk to the front and introduce themselves, and I think we'll keep that as the standing order. So in Jane's table, you'll come in front, you'll introduce yourself, where you're from, and your biggest takeaway. Tunazunguka, don't think we're picking on you. Tunazunguka, we're just going in order. So that I don't go back and forth, I'll be the focal point. Or this will be the focal point. Please come forward. Here.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Mary Zilani from an organization called Africa's Voices Foundation. We exist to amplify citizens' voices. And my biggest takeaway from yesterday was national interests are an instrument to achieving national values are an instrument to achieving national interests. Thank you so much, and I enjoyed yesterday's conversations.
Thank you, Mary. Please pass it to your colleague as we go back. So that's how we're going to be doing. You pass the mic back, you come forward, introduce yourself, where you're from, and your biggest takeout from yesterday.
Good morning, my name is Stella. I come from Kisii County. My biggest takeaway, I took a lot of things yesterday, but I want to mention the 3 C's that Dr. Sylvia mentioned here yesterday, the aspect of cooperation, consultation, and the collaboration. I took that away. And another thing that's from the afternoon session was about the national interest, that each country must have their national interests, and if that country focuses on those national interests, then the whole aspect of UTU will make meaning to us.
Thank you so much, Stella. We'll pass it to you at the back. A lot of feedback, Ambassador and Bwanawori, from yesterday's session. So I guess we'll be calling you just to bring it back home in regards to today's session with IEBC. Very impactful.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Valerie Diana Chiengonyango from the State Department for Devolution. I'll start with the entrance. I was very impressed about the inclusivity in the attendance list, because we see they include the youth, the PWDs, all that. I'll embrace that in our attendance list, because that's basically what we do. So my biggest takeaway yesterday was on the national interest still. I got to know we have our own, we are the peril of deciding what we want to be our national interests. Yeah, and I'm glad to learn about the UTU word. I didn't know there's no English word that describes it best. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Valerie, and please give our regards to Dr. Sylvia. Her session has also been pinpointed as something very impactful. Mr. Obala, please come forward. I know you were one of our speakers yesterday, but we are still going around and asking attendees and delegates to share their name, where they're from, and the biggest impact, in addition to what Kenya National Union of Teachers is doing with Uraia. I'm sure there are other sessions for you as a delegate you felt were very impactful, and we'd like you to share that with us if possible.
Good morning. I think yesterday there was so much to take home, and if you ask me, maybe the question of civic education is critical. I think we go through formal education. We budget for formal education from ECD to university. But as a country, we have left civic education to the civil society organization. I think that is not right. Civic education should be part and parcel of a budget line for the National Treasury to finance. And I think the issues that bedevil this country, whether it is at the election time where we elect people on the basis of their ability to mobilize, their ability to finance, their ability to manipulate. All that is because of inability to conduct proper civic education. So the question of civic education for me, I think now that we are having a training manual, I was told it is work in progress. So I believe we should still have time to go through it. For example, when you talk about curriculum in Kenya, I don't know, I can't see KICD here. I can't see UASU here. So I'm wondering also the question of empaneling the team that was being invited. I think Uraia needs to do better next time. And still on the question of debt, I've been very keen. I've been following the question of debt because part of what I do, I deal with budgets. I deal with CBA. I deal with the budget. And every other year, we find education is underfunded. So we are in CBE. We started with CBC. Now we have CBE, curriculum-based education. And the 700 billion that is that was provided to the Ministry of Education is a drop in the Indian Ocean. I saw some study showing that what the government of Kenya is giving to the Ministry of Education could be less than a quarter. So if you are being given a quarter, 25%, then you can relate that to the quality of education. So what is happening is that those who are able to afford are not taking their kids to the CBE, including senior people in government. They are taking their kids to do the international curriculum, either IGCE, GCE, and so on and so forth. This is a very serious issue, which even as civil society, it needs to be taken up. The government has always said, and somebody picked it up, I think Boaz, that 28% of the budget goes to the Ministry of Education. Actually, 17%. And even that 17%, I've attended some fora out of the country, and there are countries which do 30%. So if a country is doing 30%, we should not be proud of 17% disguised as 28%. So the question of odious debt, today still the debt is piling. Every other day the government is borrowing. I've seen a report showing government has borrowed, Treasury has borrowed 1.1 trillion, I think in the last 1 year. So we need to come up with legislation that would be able to limit even the borrowing. It is not possible to borrow just to host people in State House or borrow to fund rallies. So I think civic education is a key thing. This is a good start, but we need to have more people on board and improve on what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Obala. Very passionate about education. Of course, you know he's Executive Officer, Kenya National Union of Teachers. So when it comes to anything to do with education, he always wants it to be all-inclusive. And we do appreciate your feedback. I'm sure the Uraia team will invite KICD and Wasu. All right, Abdulaziz, please come forward, and then we'll deal with that table, and then we'll wrap up now because I think we will be close to starting.
Good morning. My name is Abdulaziz. I learned a lot yesterday, took a lot yesterday, and concerning mostly on UTU and national interest. That was the match we had. Adding on that, I'm advising Kenya National Union of Teachers to make it a subject, full subject, on Constitution of Kenya. Even on my experience, even on my advice, in my effort, I always apply a lot of constitutions to primary public schools, most of the time, most of the years. So we need to put pressure on constitution in public primary schools and also high schools, public high schools. Yeah. That's the little much I have for now. Thank you.
So much. I think that deserves a round of applause. And just, it's piqued my curiosity, borrowing from what Mr. Obala said and Abdulaziz, how many civic educators are here and you work with children or schools? Just lift your hand so we can see if there's any. Maybe that's a takeout you can have. Work with Uraia to give you copies of the Constitution and to supply the school. They can have it even, have an Uraia club or a governance club just so that we can continue the Constitution. All right, next, yes, we'll go around like that, then Cliff, then I'll get to know your names kidogo kidogo as we move on. Muko wengi.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Wilson Nindo. Maybe yesterday I came when the introduction was going on. I work in the county government of Kisumu as the Director of Public Affairs, but at the moment also covering as the Chief Officer Public Service. I'm very privileged to be here, first of all. Just quickly on the things that I picked up yesterday. There was a question of when we were promulgating the Constitution in 2010, how many of us were feeling that they were relieved? I was very much one of them. And I remember when I was in college running in the streets in 1997. I know when I talk about 1997, some of us who are still in the Gen Z, yeah, I think that, really? Does it look like? So towards that period, and you know how the Constitution, momentum gained from 1992 up to when it was done in 2010, I was very relieved because I was thinking that now the problems of Kenya is gone. And being one of the people who are now just in the trajectory of rising, then I believe that was going to be, but yes, I feel like the Constitution has not helped us. Or if it has, then we still have challenges. That was one question. Then there was the presentation by the legendaries in the afternoon about the UTU and the national interest. I'm going home because they also gave us a homework to look at, could we be having some other national interests that were not taken care of? But the biggest question I'm asking myself, could we have made the Constitution without looking at the national interest? That is a question. The other one, that as a person working in government, that came up very strongly from the civic educators, is that government don't like civic educators. Yeah, because, and when I say government, government is made of politics. It is the politicians that get into government. And when you speak about truth, then you kind of step on people's toes. I just want to say that that is a take home, but in Kisumu, we've been doing it differently since 2020. And if you get to the likes of team, and I've seen some of us here like Mariam, and I saw Transparency International here do here. We set the pace differently by government opening doors to the civil society and civic space being taken up by the civil society, because that's a niche really that government has not been able to do because of matters funding, matters the type of people in government, and the likes. So I think, again, in government, you need to identify the champions who speak the language of let's make it better. Then I know Dr. Vundi is here, and there are a host of challenges that Vundi, working with us, we can be able to point at. Yes, I'm not saying government, the statement was wrong. There are a lot of us in government that still want to hide things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bwana Nindo. A round of applause to him. Thank you so much, Kisumu County, and we're very interested to know how Kisumu is helping implement the Constitution. Very key questions being raised. When we were coming up with the constitutions, did we consider our core interests and our core values? Question mark. We'll answer that later. Cliff? Oh, sorry.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Kevin Mangusu. I'm from Africa for SDGs. I didn't have the opportunity to be here yesterday, but I'm picking the highlights from yesterday. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, next. So for those who've just come in, Karibuni Sana, we're going around, we're introducing ourselves, where we're from, and our key takeout from yesterday. In the interest of time, we might not be able to go all around, but it's just good that the conversations that came from yesterday's discussions are still in our minds today.
Thank you, Cindy. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Judy Nyaga. For the purposes of this meeting, I'm the consultant rapporteur. That means I'm just taking all the ideas and collating them and putting them in a report. Yesterday, my key takeaway was the use of unconventional spaces, especially in civic education. I know everyone has said national values and interests, but the idea from Badili, I think it was Badili Africa, the use of political spars, getting women and young girls and youth to have these conversations in unconventional spaces was a key takeaway for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judy. Cliff, I know you are a moderator for a session, but you are also an attendee to other sessions. Take out, please.
Mine will be brief. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cliff Ocheng. I come from Team Transform Empowerment for Action Initiative. 3 takeaways for me. The first one came from the creatives. I noticed Nisisi ndio tuko. They said that in many words. We are the ones who are here. There's no change you're waiting for. The change begins with you. And Baba is no more. Nisisi ndio tuko. The second thing is the role of the music festival in nurturing UTU, especially for the young children, students, and pupils. That was a big takeaway. And then from Dr. Sylvia, was key for me was the fact that there's need for a lot of civic education as a prerequisite for public participation. Those are the 3 takeaways for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cliff. So on to this next table. Daktari, allow me to skip you just because you are one of our key speakers, and it's good to receive the feedback. I don't know if you've had a lot of the session feedback we're receiving is on the 3 C's, and thank you for bringing that to light. Yes, of course I've forgotten your name, even though you've told me twice. But I know you're doing a master's in communication, and he's specializing on civic education. If he comes and he passes his questionnaire to you, please help him. He is raising awareness about the space through academia. So this time I will not forget.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the chance. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ian Cairo. I come from USIU Africa. I am a master's student in communications faculty. I'm writing a paper on artificial intelligence mitigating public participation amongst the youth in Kenya. Last year, I observed a young man and an innovation called Finance GPT. This young man was able to simplify the knowledge of the Finance Bill 2024 for many young people who are trying to engage with the protest, with the demonstration, and also to participate in the policy making in this country. Now that led to Maandamano. My key takeaway yesterday was very powerful, and I really appreciate all the speakers. And first, when Mr. Irongo talked about the importance of advocating for justice and youth innovation, the young lady Rose Njeri, despite her being arrested, she should probably get another opportunity to talk to Treasury and also offer this insight that she was able to collect amongst the young people. The second biggest note I got is that civic education leads to public participation. Initially, I'd looked at it the other way around. However, when the discussion by Helen, the lady Helen yesterday, civic education can now lead to even much more better public participation. And my last biggest takeaway is that young people can use their platforms for peer-to-peer civic education and civic empowerment. If young men are in a barber shop or are in a informal students leadership club, they can be able to talk about their governance, their country, and even promote ideas and solutions. That's why we can see different innovations such as these hackathons, bringing in innovators and people with ideas to just sit down in a room, build a solution, and see whether it can be translated into something actionable. Thank you so much, and I do look forward to a great session today. Asante.
Thank you, Ian. Now I've gotten the name right. Beverly, will you say something? All right, please come. So, in case you're wondering why we're making people come forward, we have this beautiful pillar, but it is blocking the view for those to the left and to the right. So the only central vantage point is in front. And as civic educators, we are bold and we are, yes, frontal people.
Thank you. Good morning. Again, for the purposes of this conference, I am the rapporteur, and I'm also taking in the recommendations that you guys are doing. For me, a call to action that came out yesterday was that there was a reference made to children in China who are taught about their national interests. And so if we are able to understand our national interest, then we can align that to our constitution and then translate that into our national policies and then all the way down, trickle it to our CIDPs, our budget allocations to our county levels. And so, yeah, national interest needs to be at the spirit of our heart. So that was the call to action for yesterday. Thank you.
So much, Beverly. Again, children, children, children. Are we focusing a lot on people who have already set their minds and are set in their ways? And are we neglecting the next generation? Is there a low-hanging fruit that we could maybe look into and focus very keenly on civic education for children? Bwana Obala has talked about it, Aziz has talked about it. She's the rapporteur, so she's taking all the information that we are giving, and the call to action comes back to children. Food for thought. So Beverly, there's a gentleman next to you. Yes, please come forward. Introduce yourself, where you're from, and your biggest takeout from yesterday's session.
Suba Churchill is my name, from the Kenya National Civil Society Center, and also a member of the Kenya National Interface NIT. My takeaway yesterday was that states that do not define their national interests risk being vassal states that remain subordinate to external forces. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suba Churchill. Again, national interest, and of course our core values. So in the spirit of inclusivity, we will give our team that is receiving sign language interpretation to share, to introduce themselves, where they're from, and their biggest takeout from yesterday's session. And we will receive interpretation at this moment from Catherine.
Good morning. My name is Vincent. Good morning. My name is Vincent Okemwa from Deaf Ability Initiative. I'm so happy to be here. What my takeaway yesterday was it's exactly how it's important that now Kenya is a very important country, and we need to make sure that we have our interest, national interest, and we shouldn't copy any other country. We need to make sure that everyone understood the civic education. Thank you.
Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Aska, and that's my sign name, from FEDWEN, Deaf Women Kenya Network. My takeaway from yesterday is that the promulgated Constitution of Kenya, it means that Kenyans have the sovereign power, and everyone need to exercise their rights. We need also to work together and make sure that we solve all the challenges that we're experiencing. It is a great time that we need to stop keeping quiet. We need to speak up. We need to solve our challenges and implement the Constitution.
All right, thank you so much, Aska. Thank you so much to the team. Asante sana. At this juncture, I'd like to invite on stage some of our guests who we did not get a chance to properly introduce them yesterday. These are representatives from the county. Thank you so much. Bwana Nindo, you have already spoken very well and emphatically about what Kisumu County is doing. Umekaribishwa sana. I hope you feel at home. And right now it is my pleasure to introduce Zilpa Opapo from Homa Bay, Director, Stakeholder Engagement and Public Participation. Please come forward and salimia watu. Tell us what Homa Bay County is doing in terms of civic education and also your biggest takeaway from yesterday.
Thank you very much, Cindy. Good morning, all. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Good morning once again. Is it a gloomy morning? Okay, my name is Zilpa Opapo. As has been said, I'm the County Director responsible for stakeholder management, public participation, and civic education, Homa Bay County. Well, that is the county of endless potential. I'd like to say that from inception of devolution at the county of Homa Bay, the directorate responsible for public participation was not very strong during the first regime. But with the coming in of our new governor, the governor Gladys Wanga, we have established a directorate, and we have in place an act of the County Assembly of Homa Bay in the name of Public Participation and Civic Education Act, in partnership with Uraia and other partners, and especially the IDF. Mr. Jijo is right here. We've been able also to work on a policy on civic education and public participation. The same has been subjected to stakeholder validation, and we will soon be launching the public participation policy. So I would say that we are on the right track, and we continue to encourage all the departments of the government of the county of Homa Bay to ensure that civic education precedes public participation. But I also must say this, as the director responsible for civic education, that I realize there's a very thin line between being an active citizen, as it was described here yesterday, and being an activist. As a director responsible for public participation, you feel the people, and you want to ensure that the people really get to understand what their rights are, what is in the Constitution, and how the sensitization around any issue, from planning to implementation, especially around the CIDP for the county governments. This is a 5-year planning document that shapes a lot of other planning frameworks, including the annual development plan, how they participate, the participatory budget making process, and also participatory project implementation, as was mentioned by Dr. Sylvia. We put in place project management committees for each and every project that is implemented by the county government of Homa Bay, so that the people are onboarded and are able then to offer that oversight role at the lowest level during the course of implementation of every project. Otherwise, I would say that from yesterday's session, my biggest takeaway was on demos prudence. This is a legal concept that examines how ordinary people, through social movements and collective resistance and influence, can shape the law. Thank you very much. We have a very practical example as I see it in Homa Bay Town constituency. We must be very wary of our leaders, especially our political leaders, who have become, you know, not very supportive of the Kenyans being able to realize and enjoy the gains that are supposed or that come with the new constitution. So this practical example is where the people of Homa Bay Town constituency, not the entire constituency because it's a cosmopolitan constituency. So we have the native, which is the Kanyada community, and we have you know, people from other communities who are residents of the sub-county. So the native community wanted to hold a meeting to discuss their development and other socio-economic issues, including their own cultural development. And then the area MP, sorry to mention this, but it is important that I do, says that you cannot hold a meeting unless I have sanctioned it, unless I'm the one facilitating it, and unless I'm the one convening it. And the conveners go ahead and say, no, the power that you enjoy, the power that you have is actually delegated authority by the people. And the Constitution of Kenya says that the people can exercise their power directly or through their democratically elected leaders. So the community is going ahead to hold this meeting despite a lot of resistance from the Member of Parliament. So that is what we need to encourage our people to do, to know that they are the sovereign, they have the sovereign power. The sovereign power rests with the people of Kenya, and even up to the local levels, the power is with the people, and our leaders only exercise it as a delegated authority. May God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Zilpa. I think Dr. Sylvia warned us yesterday. Government, when somebody from government comes through, there has to be talking, because the points are many, the issues are weighty, and it is their civic duty to ensure that their mandate is carried out. So we appreciate you, Zilpa. We appreciate you, Bwana Nindo. We still have other representatives from county that we will definitely recognize and give a chance to speak. But I have just been informed that, thank you for the information, for the cue. I've just been informed that our time is in Kenyan English very much gone, and we should start our program. Ladies and gentlemen, this is day 2 of the Uraia National Convention. Today we have a lot of keynote speakers who are going to take us through the practicality of elections, specifically IEBC's role. Before we get into that, we need to call the House to order, and as civic players, civic educators, as think tanks in the governance space, it is important to honor the highest call for every civic educator, and that is the national anthem. Now, if you're new here, or those who are following us online through Uraia's YouTube and Facebook page, we play the 3 stanzas of the Kenya National Anthem and the East African Anthem as a reminder that our civic duty goes beyond stanza 1. And also to remember that our national anthem is a prayer and a call to duty. So ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I'd like to invite you to put your gadgets away, to please stand up for the singing of the national anthem. Yesterday, everybody joined in the singing, and I hope we'll do so today. We will also sing the 3 stanzas of the East African anthem. If you are not familiar with the words, they will be projected on screen. Media team, please take it away. I think we need to start it again. There is no sound. So we can start it again. Tuimbe. See, we know it. All right. English or Kiswahili? Kiswahili. All right. Mungu. I had to remind. There we go.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
If we could all remain standing so that we can start off with a word of prayer. I'll invite Abdulaziz to come and lead us in a word of prayer, as well as Wanjiko. You can both come forward. Abdulaziz, you'll use this microphone.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we pray. O Allah, give us good in this world, give us more good in the hereafter. Save us from the torment of the hellfire. O Allah, we pray, save our country. O Allah, give Uraia and civic educators and other colleagues a lot of encouragement to do this tough work on our country. O Lord, make us succeed in all our efforts on fighting for humanity, fighting for the citizens of this country. O Lord, we pray, forgive us our sins. O Allah, accept our prayers. Amen, amen, amen.
We want to acknowledge the supremacy of the mighty God as it is enshrined in our Constitution. Let us pray. Almighty God and everlasting Father, we come before you this gracious morning. We know that you love us, God, and we know that you care for us, and that is why you have brought us together, mighty King. We pray that the intellectual brains around here, Father, will brainstorm and work towards blessing your people, working for your people, God, because you have always reminded us that if we work for your people, God, you will bless us. It is in this, for this reason, God, that we come before you. We praise you, we glorify you, and we believe that, Lord, whatever that it is that you're going to come with from this place, Lord, it will be for blessing your people, developing them, Lord, and even glorifying your name. We pray this, Father, believing and trusting in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen. You may have seats. Thank you so much, Abdulaziz. Thank you so much, Wanjiku. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please, please, please. Do not musinilete makasiriko kutoka nyumbani. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. There are so many people who did not make it today. We have our hearts beating and passionate about the work that we are doing, and it should resound in how we greet each other. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for those of you who are not there yesterday or you've forgotten, this is how you sign. I am pleased to meet you. Turn to your neighbor and tell them, pleased to meet you. Now turn to the other neighbor and tell them, pleased to meet you. I'll ask Agri to stand and teach us how to sign good morning. There's pleased to meet you, but there's also good morning. So, Agri, how do we sign good morning? Yes. He had to explain first, which is great, always taking care of his people.
I'm glad that I don't have to use a microphone.
So, good morning. Good morning. Oh, okay.
And sometimes you can also do it very fast, like good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Oh, so for those people that you like, it is good morning. For someone you don't want many stories, good morning. Tukisonga, tukienda mbele. All right. I would like to recognize the presence of a couple of distinguished guests. We have Mr. Patrick Angasa from Nairobi County Chair Civic Education Committee. Please stand and wave to people. Mr. Patrick, tumpigie makofi tafadhali. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick Angasa. We'll give you an opportunity to address the nation. We were with him yesterday, and he's still with us here today. We do appreciate his presence. Mr. Tom Tubey, Director, Public Communication, Baringo County. Is he here? Yes, please stand. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali. We do appreciate our key players in the government. We have Hilary Mutugi. I hope I read your handwriting right. John Mutugi, Deputy County Secretary, Tharaka Nithi. Did I get it right? It's Mutugi. Hilary? Where is Hilary? Yes. Is it Mutugi? Oh, great. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. He spoke very emphatically. Some of you are not here, so I'll ask him to stand and just say hi to us again. Mr. Wilson Nindo from Kisumu County, please stand so we can appreciate you. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. And we have Mr. Romain Boya, or Boye. Boya. Okay. Boya, Boye. Oh, okay. Mr. Romain Boya from the French Embassy, please give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. And most importantly, we have each and every one of you who are still here day 2. Jipigieni makofi. Asante sana. We always like starting with food for thought, something just to make us think. And yesterday, the food for thought that we gave you in terms of edutainment even came up in conversation. Somebody mentioned, the young boy from Naivasha said, when Mufasa said, when Willie said. Therefore, it goes to show that when we do entertainment and not edutainment, the impact is felt. Ladies and gentlemen, he gave us food for thought yesterday, and he's here to do it again this morning. Please put your hands together for Mufasa.
It's for sure the sun will rise at dawn down in Africa. It's for sure the sun will set at dusk down in Africa. Yes, it's for sure the daughter of the land make us proud in Africa. And it's for sure the sons of the land are bold in Africa. The women will shout, their children to play. Yeah, la, 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 yeah, la, la. The women will shout, their children to play. Yeah, la, 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 yeah, la, la.
I talk about my mother a lot in my poems. And that's because my mother says things that are hard to forget. Like the first time I performed a poem on national TV. I remember the poem. I said, I'm a son of a woman, a black woman. That day my mother called me and said, Kibet, mwana kutambia kwa TV? Ama udhani sitajua? Hatuliambia watu mama yako ni mweusi kabisa. When I was featured on a newspaper on a full page, my mother called and said, Kibet, nimekuokopa. Najua hata ruto kwa gazeti saa zingine unakata miguu yako hakugusa. If there's anything that my mother hates the most, is every time I'm part of a protest. Like during the protests, my mother called and said, Kibet, uko wapi sahi? Kaa kwa nyumba, unasikia? Sasa askari akupiga bastola, utampeleka wapi? Utampeleka polisi? Si wako ni kwao. Every morning after a protest, my sister calls. My voice tells her I did not spend the night at a morgue. It is a good morning. There will be no mourning at our home today. At least my mother will get another chance to try to talk sense to his son. My mother will say, Kibet, don't talk about the government in your poems. Write, but don't try to right wrongs when you write, because one day you might write a poem so good it will take you to a grave where people will come to give you your flowers. They will say the last poem was so deep it took you under, so much depth it took death to get you your flowers. My mother will say, don't try to love a country with your poems. Love a woman instead. But I remind her, even the women I would write for are dying too. Fadili, talk to him. When I think of Africa, I think of colonies. Our leaders, students of a system of ruling we inherited from colonial masters. They might have given us an Independence Day, but it feels like they took our freedom forever. At least that's what it feels like. It will take more than peaceful elections to make Africa rise. When I say Africa, I think of Kenya. When I think of Kenya, I feel anger. We're swimming in the deep end because those who are supposed to lead us are shallow. They will kill a country's heartbeat just to fill their pockets with notes. It's all math. The way they multiply our division so they can be mean with the pie. Watch them be water. Watch them take the shape of the glass they are in. Last time they were pentagon. Right now there are something we want to go, and I'm not trying to square off. I'm trying to erect an angle where you see the circles. They run on us. The executive, judiciary, and the parliament was supposed to be a triangle. But when the president has them in a box, do we call it a cube or a cone? I wasn't alive to see J.M. Kariuki's shadow, but ever since I read about him, his zeal for democracy and unity shadows me. I've got my own shadow. Each time I look at it, I ask, am I tall enough? Have I done enough? Do I make you think? Do I want to be the first thing on your mind, or do I want to be the back of your head? Back of your head, comfortably casting shadows. Shadows will comfortably host ninjas. Where is your sword? My word is my sword. I speak reality that cuts through your lives and will raise your kids. I give you reasons to raise your doubts. Which reminds me, change won't come when our leaders change. Change will come when we accept the leader inside all of us. Thank you. Give it up for Fadili.
I think we can give a bigger round of applause to Mufasa and Fadili. Thank you so much to our dope poets. Earlier on, I had mentioned the role of IEBC, and their role is very, very important when we come to governance, when we come to leadership, because they're very integral in choosing the next leader. Electoral preparedness is something that has been a question raised. Are we really ready for the next elections? Because each and every one of you at the grassroots, you're educating, you're empowering, you're informing. This is what you need to do. This is what the Constitution says. And what is the action call of that education? Register to vote or vote. Now, the people on the ground are asking, but are we ready to vote? And the only way we can know that is by hearing it from the horse's mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce on stage to talk about election preparedness Ruth Kulundu, who is the Deputy Commission Secretary, Operations DCS. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ruth Kulundu from IEBC, who's going to take us through a session on election preparedness. Asante sana.
Thank you, my sister. The Uraia, Executive Director, Mr. Waindi, though I have not seen him around. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning once more. Yes, my name is Ruth Kulundu. I'm the Deputy Commission Secretary in charge of operations at IBC. My boss, Mr. Marjan Hussein Marjan, the CEO, was meant to have delivered this short speech, but because of competing activities at the commission, he has asked me to represent him. Kindly accept his apologies. Now, we all know from the Constitution that our main mandate as a commission is to conduct or supervise referenda and elections. And for sure, since we came into being in 2010, after the promulgation of our constitution, we have been doing exactly that. And of course, we have a process to any given election. And for any given election or cycle, electoral cycle, we always start with the legal reforms, which we are undertaking right now. And our partners here, who are represented here by Mr. Mark Olwal, Elja, they're actually helping us to walk through the legal reforms, and we'll be able to actually dispense with them in early 2026, at least over 1 year before the general election in August 2027. And we have also embarked on voter registration. And for now, we are doing it in our 290 constituencies. But very soon, immediately after the by-election, which we are having on 27th of November, we are going to get to enhanced continuous voter registration, which will go to wards and polling centers as time will allow. So please, I would urge you, or urge our families, our friends, our youth, most importantly our Gen Zs, to come out and register as voters. We envision that by the end of the registration process, which again we'll announce to the public, we'll have added onto the register we had in 2022 at least 6.3 million. We had 22.1, and we hope that by the end of the registration process, we'll have 28 million. Kindly come out as Kenyans and let us register as voters. And of course, I don't want to mention or to leave out boundaries. We are working on it, and very soon the commission is going to come out on what we are going to do or the way forward. You remember the Supreme Court pronounced itself by throwing the ball back to us that we need to make a decision. We had actually gone to them to ask that since the 8 to 12 years provided by the Constitution are over, what do we do? And they kept quiet the longest time, and as soon as the commissioner stepped into office, they said now, because you have commissioners, go back to the drawing board and make a decision, because you have the mandate from the public. So without much ado, I was asked to come and share with you what we are doing about the by-elections that are ahead of us on 27th of this month, hardly less than 2 weeks from now. We realize that by-elections are brought about either by death of incumbents or resignation of incumbents, and or the court taking us back to the ballot box. You remember Magarini? Magarini is the only constituency the commission has been taken back to go and redo the election. And for wards, there are only 2 wards that we have been taken back. So in total, we have 24 by-elections to be held on 27th of this month. And out of these 24, 1 is uncontested, a ward in Wasingishu, it's uncontested. And there is 1 we are still grappling with from Elgeyo Marakwet. The holder of the position, MCA, resigned as he was going for the Speaker of the County Assembly but we are yet to get the feedback from the court. But otherwise, we are prepared for all the 24 to be held. And even that one that's contested has been gazetted, and the winner, or the one who has gone through without contestation, will be given the certificate on the material day. So what have we done as a commission? As a commission, towards the by-election, we have already registered candidates, which was seamless. I think in all the 24, it was quite seamless. And we have already shown the 24 places their candidates. And as we speak, the ballot papers are arriving today and tomorrow. The first batch arrives today in the evening, and the second batch tomorrow in the evening. So we'll be there at the airport to receive them, and it will be shown to all Kenyans that how the process is going. We have already done the recruitment of our election officials, that is the presiding officers, the DPO, deputy presiding officers, and clerks. And as again we speak, training is going on. At the moment, we are training the presiding officers, and 23rd and 24th will be training the clerks. Campaigns have been going on. As soon as the nominations were done, which we in technical language we call registration of candidates, were done, campaigns started immediately, and they are supposed to end 2 days. 2 days before the due date, which is 27th. So they stop on 24th at 6 p.m. And again, I would want to urge you, as fellow Kenyans, that let us maintain peace during this time, and let us call upon each other that all these places, we are peaceful. We have seen what has come out of Mbeere North, but not as bad as Kasipul. Again, as we speak, our commissioners are making a decision in another meeting on the way forward the Kasipul by-election. So I would urge you, urge our friends, urge the voters in these various places. We have done stakeholder engagement at the national level, we have done at the county level, we have done even in the wards, and we are hoping that all is going to be well. We met the PPLC, that is the Political Party Liaison Committee, on various occasions, and we are hoping that all is going to go on well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the by-elections on 27th of this month. And in the same breath, I would want to assure you that, again, for the general election on 10th of August, 2027, we are preparing towards it. We are talking to Treasury. I think it is in our knowledge that we have asked for some money, which Kenyans say it is a lot of money, 63 billion. So we are still negotiating, and we are preparing, sincerely and competently preparing towards the general election for 10th of August 2027. So for me, really, we are ready as a commission. And I would say that in the event of anything, please, or any conversation, approach us. At the moment, we are registering collaborating with various institutions, that is women, SIGs, various SIGs, youth, and development partners. We are actually collaborating with them so that we prepare towards this election. Again, we are also accrediting observers, monitors. If you go to our website, please, you'll find us there. Let us engage, and soon you'll be seeing us all over as the budget rolls. Asanteni sana, and if there are any questions, I'll be around to answer any. Asante. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Madam Ruth. Short and sweet to the point, but the point is they are ready for elections, emphasizing on the by-election. But I know kwa ground tuko na maswali. Madam Ruth, are you okay for the fire? Please make your way to the podium just so that you can ask the questions. I will be taking the mic around. I know because it is an integral part of our program, we will take 6 questions and then we will move from there. So I see 1, 2. Let me start with the one that is here. And you can be noting them down. We'll take all the questions together and then feel free to answer.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Jeffet Ojijo from Homa Bay County, an implementing partner for Uraia Trust in Homa Bay County. From Kasipul, where you are talking about, one, during the devolution conference, the people of Kasipul approached the podium of Uraia Trust, seeking for the social vetting in Kasipul. Failure to that, a lot of things will take place. That has been taken with the events. I'm telling you, I'm from Kasipul. And as civil societies, we were very, very much annoyed when Commission decided to meet the candidates alone on the issues of politics which are taking place there. They only met the candidates, and our own request to the Commission by then, if we could have been allowed, was that the 2 candidates, that is Mr. Rocco and Mr. Boyd, to be removed from contesting and the other ones to continue. Because we know the nature which is there. If you go to Ugis now particularly, if you are a visitor, you can neither mention Boyd or Aroko because you don't know what will happen next. Kichwa yako will be in another place, na your body. So this is my request. We are from IDF. We have been applying for the accreditation observation from the IBC. We got it last year in 2022. We did this time around, we haven't received any feedback. I'm requesting you through your power, please give us an opportunity for observers, for us to make sure that this election is conducted well. I'm requesting that one. Because Uraia has a brand, and they really respect it, even with the implementing partners which were there. So we have been waiting for the accreditation for both voter education and observers up to this moment, 3 days to go. While now you are thinking of what next to do, it will be very late to make some disciplinary actions. Let the elections go on and let the logistics and everything be okay. Thank you so much.
Any questions on this side before I cross over to Suba Churchill? Mariam?
Thank you so much. Indeed, it's an honor for us to have you here, Ma'am. Thank you. We are glad you were able to make it. I just have 2 concerns. One is on the issue of boundaries. What are you doing about boundaries across the country? We also know that some counties you have been able to add some wards. What becomes of them? Are they legally gazetted? And can we proceed to ensure that now we have, let me give an example. For Kisumu County, we have 7 sub-counties, but there is one that has been added, which is Kadibo. But we're still having a challenge to ensure that there's that kind of coordination, even as we have the other sub-county. So has this been legally gazetted? Then secondly is on the issue of the Elections Act and other legislations that are also very critical when it comes to elections. We all know that without those laws, it becomes very difficult even for IBC to conduct its mandate. But at the same time, what is
IEBC able to do, to what extent, when it comes to some of the legislation. Let me give an example. We have the Campaign Financing Act. And we know that there are people who are in government who are also, they want to vie for positions. Is IEBC capable of ensuring that at the end of the day, some of these legislations, you are able to do your mandate of ensuring that at the end of the day, as we talk of campaign financing, the assets for government are not used by duty bearers. Then there's been issues of certificates, lastly. We have one case in Kisumu. I'll give the real scenario as it is. How does IEBC verify certificates of aspirants? Because this has been an issue, and as we move to the 2027 general elections, how is IEBC going to ensure that there is credibility? And I want to insist on credibility. We've talked about fair, credible, but now I want to insist on credibility, because credibility is very key when it comes to elections. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mariam. Okay, we have Suba, then I'll go around this way. Okay, you'll take for Suba, then we'll have Juliet, then Ramadan, then I'll come to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question stems from your report that the first batch of ballot papers are arriving today, and the second batch is expected tomorrow. Now, that for me is worrying, because one would have expected the IBC, and especially the recently constituted commission, to build trust. To build trust, because there seems to be a continuation of the usual trust deficit. It means you are printing these ballot papers outside the country, adding to the same budget that you are complaining about. I thought the IBC would use these by-elections to build trust among Kenyans and make us believe that it is possible to print ballot papers locally and deliver free, fair, and credible elections. But I'm somehow disappointed that, it's the usual, business as usual, continuing with the lack of trust. One would have thought that you'd put the candidates together and say, trust us to bring ballot papers, at times without even saying where they're coming from. But of course, you have made it known. They are arriving from outside the country. What is the IBC doing ahead of 2027? If in the small by-elections that we have, some 4 or 5 parliamentary, 1 senatorial, and some ward elections, you are still printing ballot papers from outside the country. What is the IBC doing to build trust among Kenyans, to trust the IBC to deliver free, fair, and credible elections at the minimum cost possible? Because this cost issue is always an issue. And so, I'm sure in the fullness of time there'll be, as usual with IBC, procurement scandals, all manner of things that contribute to undermining the credibility and acceptability of electoral outcomes. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me this chance. I want to speak from Siasa Place, which we deal with young people, and I'm really astonished that Nani is talking about youth. One key issue is ID. We've been doing a drive on telling young people to acquire ID, but there is a lot of backlog of people who are applying for ID. And ID is one of the key documents that is needed to register as a voter. So there is a lot of backlogs there's a lot of pending, ID application. So now my question to you as IBC representative is, what mechanism has IBC put in place to, one, verify or also pending ID backlogs to ensure that these youth have access to this ID? Secondly, what's the relationship? Is there any partnership that you guys have with the Ministry of Interior to ensure that there is, one, access to this ID without, corruption? Some of these, first-time applicant, so there was this first-time applicant where the government had put in the fee, but then they create a problem, then they give us the solution, which now they scrapped up the fee. Now there are still institutions whereby the fee is still being requested, the initial fee. Second, there's the, how do you call it, documentation aspect when young people are being asked for getting the IDs. The distance to getting the ID is a bit longer. Also in terms of registration for IBC now, voter registration, you find that some of the centers are not functioning. So they go there, some centers are not working, and then I will give a very good example of an influencer. She's called Wabosha Maxine. She did a vlog whereby she had moved from her place to the polling station in Kilimani. It wasn't functioning. She had to go to near not Times Tower, but Anniversary Tower. One of the machine wasn't functioning, so she had to travel all the way to railways to acquire for voters registration. She documented this, she posted it online. So what mechanism are you guys putting in place so that these young people can go and get voters card? We are here telling them to go, register, but then IBC, are they providing the necessary tools?
Marjan telling us that everything has been set and the Secretariat is ready to conduct elections, including the delimitation of boundaries, because that was, we had issues like delimitation of boundary. And the Secretary told us that they are only waiting for establishment of the commissioners. And now that we have the commissioners and we have the by-election, under Section 27 of the Election Code of Conduct, IBC is mandated to establish committees, peace committee, in each and every constituency. Bringing us back to this by-election, we've seen cases of violence, like for example in Bere and in Kasipul Kabondo. Is it Kasipul Kabondo? And even recently in Narok, we have a by-election for Ward, Narok Town Ward. Does IBC has such committees in areas that you are committing, we have by-elections? Since we know such committees is very important in promoting peace and also facilitating public collaboration, and also in identifying any threats concerning elections. Do you have such committees? That is the first question. The second question is about the voter apathy. We can see that IBC is conducting voter registration, and we see the numbers are not numbering. We know a lot of the youths are not registered as voters. You had your target, and judging by the report that you are giving every now and then, you are not reaching your target. What is the problem? And during these by-elections, do you have voter education program going on? Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have one final question. I urge that we keep the questions short because, yes, we need to give Madam Ruth a chance to answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to be very short. My name is Ezekiel Kuto from Women Educational Researchers of Kenya. Yesterday we were told the work that Uraia is doing to reach out particularly to the GNCs. in terms of civic education, for them to be able to register as voters. So these are people found in digital space. What is the plans for IEBC to leverage on technology for the future? In fact, the budgets you are talking about, if you leverage in technology, you'll only need 10%. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ezekiel. Let us give Madam Ruth a chance to answer, and then if we have time, we can get some more questions. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I'll start from the first one, Mr. Ojijo, about Kaspool. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Ojijo, you had asked about Kasipul. This has worried the Commission a lot, and if I was to combine it with the part of Mr. Ramadan's question about peace committees, yes, we have our returning officer on the ground, and we have also the county commissioner, or call them deputy county commissioners at the constituency level or sub-county level. They form the peace committee at that particular level, and we expect, from where I sit at the national level, that when there is an issue, the committee needs to actually deal with it and settle. But Kaspool went out of hand, and that's where we called the candidates. But we just didn't call the candidates. We called also with even the victims to come and provide evidence, and those who committed the offenses to come. So it was not just the candidates. And in fact, the decision was supposed to have been read yesterday by the commission. But because one of them was missing, they said he has to be there, plus his people. So that's why they're doing it this morning. The commission is quite concerned about it. And you realize from the code of conduct that the commission is allowed either to remove them from the ballot paper, the way you put it, or penalize them, cash penalty, or simply suspend the campaigns. Yeah, and in fact, most of us who have gone through that case, we were hoping that the commission will decide that the campaigns are called off, so that the candidates just go to vote on 27th. But now let's wait and see what the commission has decided, because that one is above my mandate. The commissioners will be providing the statement this morning. You had also talked about accreditation. It is ongoing. Have you provided all the things that are required? If you have provided all the documentation that's required, you should be able to go through. But before I leave, I'll speak to you personally, but I encourage any other. Please go to our website. It's called Accreditation Management System, AMS. Yeah, and you can actually apply as an observer, or as a vote educator, the way you said, or as a monitor. Yeah, please try it once more. And if it fails, please let me know. I could also give my contact to all of us here, that in the event of anything, just call me and let's talk about it. Could I share my number? Yes. Thank you. 0722 73 8056. 0722 73 8056. Ruth Kulundu. Please call me in the event of anything, all of us here. But please try our website and provide all the documentation that is required. And even if you lack any, please talk to us. Talk to me. Then we'll see how to go about it. And yeah, being related to Uraia, whom we work very closely with also, because they also fill in a gap where we are not able, especially when it comes to stakeholder engagement. Yeah, they help us. We should be able to work with you also. Yeah, and then Madam Mariam, on boundaries, I think I just touched on it as I was going through my brief notes. You realize that we should have actually done these boundaries between 2020 and 2024. Yeah. 2020, we were just preparing now for the general election. And that's why the commissioners who were in the office then decided, we started actually, we did the geodata. We went around the country and did the sublocations to the wards and all that. But now when we found that time was not on our side, we stopped. Stopping, we went into the general election, and immediately after the general election, the commissioners were leaving in January 2023. And that's why they could not do much. But between 2023 and 2025, when these other commissioners have come in, we couldn't do anything as a secretariat because the mandate lies on the 7 commissioners. That's the 6 plus the chairman. So the secretariat, you can barely do anything, nothing, when they are not there. And that's why, before they came on board, we went to Supreme Court. We went, first of all, to the AG, Attorney General, to advise us. But it's the Attorney General who referred us to the Supreme Court for advisory. Now, Supreme Court took the longest time to give us feedback. And we kept on wondering why. But as soon as the commissioners came, they threw the ball back to us, that it is your mandate, and now you have commissioners, please proceed. Now, because again of the competing, they had not even settled. They came in mid-July. Before they settled, that Supreme Court came about. Before they settled, we decided now, the first thing or activity we need to do as a commission is by elections. And remember, the Banisa MP died in March 2023, Honorable Kulo, late Kulo. So they have suffered, isn't it, as a constituency. Yeah. Then, of course, Magarini, we have Ugunja, Mbeere North, Malava constituency, the MP died. So we decided let's prioritize that. And of course, Baringo, also late Senator Cheptum. Yeah. So they decided let's prioritize the by-elections. So that's how now they kind of shelved a bit. But immediately after 27th, I think we are going into discussion together with our event development partner, Selja, so that we come out with a decision which we are going to communicate on the way forward. But we'll not go into 2027 without doing something on the boundaries. We may not necessarily use whatever we do in the boundaries for 2027 general election. Because remember, again, the law says, the constitution says that if we have to use any boundary delimitation results in the 2027 general election, we must finish by August or July 2026, which is not possible, 1 year prior to the general election. But we are going to do something immediately after the by-election. We'll retreat and we'll communicate to the public what is happening. But you can be sure we'll do something. We may not do 100%. And then also remember, the court pronounced itself that Wajir, Mandera, and Garissa census has to be pulled out. And you see, when the 3 counties are pulled out, then we don't have a national population figure, right? Are we together? Yeah, we don't have. So we may not necessarily go the constituency way, but the county assembly, again, the law allows the commission, it is continuous, we may do something. May not necessarily use in 2027, but we may do something. All right? Then Kisumu, you mentioned of a ward that has been added. No ward, sub-county. Yeah, sub-county. It may be legal on as far as the Interior, Ministry of Interior is concerned, but as far as our constituencies are concerned, we don't recognize that until we delimitate ourselves as a commission. I hope that is clear. Yeah, now for Mr. Churchill, Suba, yes, I can't agree more with you that we need to start building trust, because as we speak, it's quite low. I agree with you. But remember, we had a framework contract with the Chris farm, Laiko. It had not ended. So when the commissioners came in, again, it was we couldn't procure, because procurement, as you said, again, it takes long, yeah? So we decided, why don't we just rely on what we have. And that's how we went back to the farm that printed for us in 2022. Otherwise, we didn't mean bad, but point taken home. We need to grow even our own local industry, our own printers locally. So this is something the commissioners, especially these who are in the office, are aware. And we are looking forward that probably not all the 6 ballot papers may be printed here, but we'll try maybe 5. And the one that is contested most, the presidential one, we may still go out there. Yeah, but 2027, I think we may print them locally. Please support us by such meetings. Yeah.
Madam Ruth, maybe a follow-up, just an explanation to those who are not aware why ballot papers are not printed locally.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Fine. We are Kenyans. I'm a Kenyan, you are Kenyans. Isn't it? And you understand, I don't know, maybe you may not understand. You see, if we are to print locally, again, our fellow Kenyans may not trust the farms. Remember, we are the ones who are working in those farms, again, yeah? So we may not just trust that farm that is printing it, printing the ballot papers. But if we could build consensus as citizens of the same country and agree, we can actually do these ballot papers here and at a cheaper price, the way he has said it. Yeah? It's public information. Actually, what is provided for in the budget is 5.6 billion for ballot papers alone. And remember, we'd be 28 million, so times 6. Those are about 168 million ballot papers. And again, we don't know how many candidates will be there. So again, the length of the ballot paper matters. The shorter, the cheaper, the longer, the more expensive. So we can agree as a country, and we say, please let us promote our local entrepreneurs, isn't it? And trust that they'll do a good job. For example, when we had Delarue before they closed shop, we were actually doing for by-elections we are doing here. But now they closed shop. And we trusted them because they were doing for banks, checkbooks and blah, 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 and those sensitive security-related papers. We trusted them, but now, again, when we gave Lycos in Greece the framework contract, we didn't have much to do, but just go back to them. But as we agree here, we can agree now, and other Kenyans can agree, we can do it here. It's just lack of trust that makes us to go out there. But otherwise, if we could believe in ourselves as Kenyans, we can do it here and keep that 5 billion here instead of it going out. Is that better? Thank you. Asante. Now, for the youth, Madam Juliet, we are doing everything possible to get you on board. It's just that the EGP, that is electronic government procurement system, it has been quite hard. I think you have even seen MPs crying about it and other ministries crying about it. So because of that, we are not able to get ourselves to advertise. And that's why we've not seen us in the media. But we are in the process of getting ourselves in the media. And you'll very soon see us on TikTok. You'll see us on Instagram. We are already on Facebook. I hope you visit our Facebook page. And we're always talking about youth. Please register, yeah? And IDs, we are actually in collaboration with the National Registration Bureau, that is NRB. We are in partnership with them. And we have advised our staff on the ground in the 290 constituencies. Most of them are actually in the county commissioners' compounds. And you know, the county commissioner offices accommodate NRB officers. So in every county, every constituency, we have registration of youth to take IDs happening there. And what we do is that when we are registering, we actually sit next to the officers who issue IDs. And if possible, encourage also the youth to go and get their IDs from them. Yes, there was that fee of 100 shillings per person, but through our office and of course other Kenyans, they petitioned and it was removed. I'm surprised that that is still going on. It should be made public that IDs are free. Nobody should pay anything for an ID. So again, during our engagement, stakeholder engagement with our youth, we'll be announcing that. And probably if EGP allows us, we'll also do that on telly and all the media houses. Sawa sawa. So I don't know whether I have certified you. So, otherwise, we'll also be moving to universities, colleges, schools, that is secondary school for those who are 18 and above. Personally, I got my ID when I was in 6th form in school, and I got it back within 2 weeks. So we'll encourage NRB also to move around schools, universities, and colleges so that we have those students who are 18 and above to have their IDs done. Mr. Ramadan, about peace committees, I've partly answered you. We have them in the constituencies. They are led by our RO, co-chaired by our RO and the sub-county deputy commissioner, or if it's the county like Baringo, the county commissioner. Yeah. That's why you can, out of 24, only 2 are being mentioned. And 1 is the one leading, Kasipul. But you understand why. For those who are from Homo Bay, Mr. Ojijo, please help us to calm people's nerves on the ground. Yeah. I think we need to stop that as Kenyans and just choose our leaders wisely. Voter education, yes, we have voter educators. We have those accredited who are doing on our behalf. We have given them IIC materials. They are doing it on our behalf. And then as a commission, we have at the county level, like Baringo, we have 1 voter educator whom we have employed, and 2 voter educators in 1 educator in every constituency that has a by-election, and 2 voter educators per county assembly ward. If you move around, you'll see that. Yeah, I'm assuming you are one of our observers. Please try and you'll see that we have them, and we have them up to the end of the period. Yeah, then lastly, Mr. Ezekiel Kuto. Genesis, I think partly as I was answering Madam Miriam, Madam Juliet, I think I've partly touched on it. We are working. Actually, we have met them. We met Gen Zs and influencers in Mombasa a month ago, and they gave us strategies on how to go about it, how to reach the Gen Zs, and we're actually working on it. We'll surely do it. And if possible, you may even go to Bunge la Wananchi and talk to the public from there, and you'll see us on TikTok very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause, please, to Madam Ruth. I know I have received so many notes and whispers. I want to say something, I want to say something. But we do not, time is not on our side. We still have a presentation, a panel, and then tea break. The advantage is, and I'm going to kindly ask Madam Ruth, if you could stay on a little longer, so that we can have some of these one-on-one conversations with her over tea break. Number 2, she has graciously given us her number. So if there's anything that is burning that needs an urgent redress, you're able to reach her, and I hope that is solution enough. So please don't eat me. Just send me on M-Pesa. My number is 0725. Musinikule. Time is really not on our side. It is a very pressing issue. I'm sure you appreciate, Madam Ruth. Everyone here has vested interests, and it all boils down to IEBC. And unfortunately, we don't have time, but this is also a lesson for us as Uraia to plan, so that if it is IEBC, it's IEBC alone until tea break, because they are very weighty, and definitely the feedback will come like a tsunami. At this juncture, I'd like to introduce Mr. Bon Makolwal, who's the program manager for ELGIA. ELGIA stands for Electoral Law and Governance Institute. He is an advocate of the High Court, but he will be speaking about the role of elections in democratic consolidation in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Bon Makolwal.
Thank you so much, my sister. To be honest, I think I wish I had a way of which I could really donate some of my time for IBC, because indeed it's IBC season. And you can see from the room, there are quite a number of issues that really the citizen really wants to get clarification on. But I'm glad most of the issues and concerns, you have answers to them on your fingertips. I think that was great, Madam Kulundu. Ladies and gentlemen, as you have been told, my name is Bon Makulwal. I work for ELGIA as a program manager. ELGIA is an institution that we deal majorly on advocacy, democratic governance, rule of law, and all that pertains to elections in and outside the country regionally. Briefly, I will try to be very brief. I have a small and brief presentation on overview of the role of elections in democratic governance. And I've also been asked to go deeply on the status of electoral reforms as we are approaching the 2027 general election. To save on time, I will really take this outline to do this presentation. That one, I want us to come out from this room to really dig deep and try to answer the question of the role of elections in democratic governance. That one, really, what is democracy and what are its major components? And two, what is an election and what are its key attributes? And then, on that, we'll also look at what is the role of elections in democracy. And the major question that I think Suba Churchill is around, I really want to discuss this with him, is can democracy exist without elections? Do elections still serve democracy? That is something that has been on the discussion in the Democratic Governance Institute for long, from 2024, that people are asking themselves, do elections still really serve democracy? And on the issue of the status of elections and the electoral governance and legal reforms, I will just briefly take the room through the status of legal reforms ahead of 2027 general elections, as in where are we in terms of electoral reforms, and then we'll move from there, I think, to save time. Without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, anybody will really ask, and let me just try to push this question to the room, that what is democracy? When you hear the word democracy, what comes into your mind? And it's something that has really been a problem for the longest time, that really nobody has defined and come up with a serious definition of what is indeed democracy. Some have tried to come up with a kind of definition of what democracy. And some are saying it's a system of government in which power is vested in the people and exercised directly or through free elected representatives. It does not simply mean majority rule. It also protects minority rights, upholds human dignity, and recognizes divisive and opinion in society. That is what borders to what people have come as a consensus of what is democracy. And then they have come out to say that, look, in that definition of democracy, there are some fundamental issues that come out of it that they consider to be the components of democracy. What are the pillars of democracy? What makes something look like a democracy? I was told when I was growing up that it might not be a cow if it does not look like a cow. So what are the components of democracy? One, in the democratic state, democratic governance, there must be public participation. Remember what Churchill was saying, that how How do we engage the youths? How do we engage in a democratic government? There must be public participation. 2, there must be accountability and transparency. For example, how is our electoral governing body engaging the citizenry in organizing an election, for example, the by-election? Those are some of the issues that comes out of it. Then indeed, there must be the rule of law, that the good norm of the source of the democracy, where we get our power as a people. And then, this is very important, that in a democracy, there must be free and fair elections. Why do we think of elections? Because of the question that we are asking is, can democracy serve without election? One of the components that they are saying about democracy is, ladies and gentlemen, is that there has to be free and fair election. And this one now brings me to the question is, now, what is an election? What is an election? When you talk of electoral IEBC, Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission, what is an election? An election is in itself being defined by quite a number of people in different spheres. According to us, when we talk of election, what comes into your mind? I'm very, very sure that most of us will only think of one. An election is kuweka kura kwa debe. Kuamka asubuhi, then you go and cast your vote. But is that alone what entails in an election? An election has been defined, and it is a process through which citizens choose their leaders and confers authority to govern. There are two very major important things there. One, citizen chooses their leaders, and 2, confers the authority to govern. There must be a social contract. If an election does not have that, meaning it is really not a properly defined election within the meaning of the universal meaning of election, then briefly, ladies and gentlemen, if I would bring you to speed on what are now the attributes of an election. An election must be universal. For example, if you go to an election, I know there are alternatives of elections, but you go to an election where only some few people sit in a boardroom to choose. Indeed, that one will not be qualified to be an election within the meaning, the real meaning of an election. There must be equality of votes. One vote, one shilling, one vote. There must be some bit of your vote has got the same strength as mine. If your vote is thought to be stronger than mine, indeed there might be some bit of lack of really what is an election. And then there must be some bit of secrecy, the secret of the ballot, of which now you cannot predict the results. You can know the process, but you cannot predict the results. What I've chosen indeed will not be displayed, and that is where now you think of it being a proper election. Then lastly, there must be some direction. The citizen directly choose their leaders. It's about me choosing, not somebody choosing for me, my leader, through an election. And that is now bring us now. We have briefly looked at what democracy is, the components of democracy. I've also looked at what an election is, the attribute of democracy. And now ask myself and I'll ask really the room, and this is something that we really have to discuss as a country, as a democratic state. What is the role of election in democracy? What is really the role of democracy? Election in democracy. Can we have democracy without election? Can we say that Kenya is a democratic state if at all we decide not to be holding elections? That is the issue in the room. And quite a number of people have said that, look, in short, in a democracy, citizens typically choose their leaders by voting in elections. An election brings legitimacy in a democracy. For this reason, while theoretically alternatives to elections exist, democracy cannot meaningfully function without elections. That is what some people are saying. What about you? What do you say? Do you think that we can have a democracy-governed state without elections? Nevertheless, you have also seen that there are challenges of democracy, where there's quite a number of rise of tendencies to use elections by liberal and authoritarian leaders to legitimize undemocratic practices. A question, for example, is, would you say that Tanzania, with all due respect, is a democratic state? because they held an election, would you say that now there must be an election to have democracy? What about if they could have not gone to an election? Would you have still said that they are democratic? And that is what is happening today. Do elections still serve democracy? The people who have been in this field for quite a number of years, do you think as we speak today, our elections still serve democracy? Do our elected leaders still have the legitimacy from the people? Do they really have the power of the people? There is two types of legitimacy question. The rule of law of which, yes, you have been elected through a way that, the constitutional way. People woke up and they went and voted for you. But can you really, in a factual manner, by laid down facts, can you really say that you were elected democratically? Those are the questions that I know that are lingering around right now, especially today, that there's a very big debate between procedural democracy and substantive democracy. And people are now saying in the field of democracy that substantive democracy goes beyond election. Election is not about choosing our leaders. Election now is not really procedural, that you wake up, then you go and put your ballot in a ballot paper in a ballot box. No, it's about how are you governing? How are you involving your citizens in governing? It's not about winning election. And that's why you'll find in jurisdictions where people have really fought for the longest time to gain legitimacy, they are struggling to govern. I'm telling you that one of the challenges that the current government of Kenya really faced for the longest time is to gain legitimacy. Legitimacy is that, could he really factually say on the facts on the table that you won the election? Will you, for example, say that you have won the election if all your opponents are all locked in while we are going to election? If you are running alone, will you say that you have won the election if all, for example, in Kenya, you have less governors numbers, you have less senators, you have less MCAs, but you say that you have won the presidential election? Is that what the election is meant for? Will you say that you have won the election if immediately you come into power, there is uprise of Gen Zs all over? Will you say that that is democracy? That is the reason why I'm happy that yesterday, through the Uraia platform, people are discussing the evolution in democracy. Democracy is evolving. It's no longer procedural democracy, but it's a substantive democracy where the citizen must be involved in governance, not only to wake up and vote and go home. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let me also take you briefly through the priority areas of the legal reforms ahead of Kenya 2027 general election. The reason why I think that it's a good topic is that we are all aware that we are away from the elections, 1 year to elections. But where are we in terms of our electoral reforms? Where are we in terms of the reforms that we really require? People are thinking of integrating technology into electoral management. But where are we in terms of this? To save on time, I will go straight that as ELGA, we did what called the bill tracker of election bills as at 30th October 2025. And you'll realize that for the longest time, there are quite a number of areas that we need electoral reforms as we move forward the 2027 general election. And this is where we need synergy between the electoral governing body, the civil society, so that we can know on how we can get these electoral reforms in place early enough before 2027 general election. As we sit on this room, the question that now we should ask ourselves, what is my role as somebody from the civil society? What is your role as an electoral governing body? What is your role so that we can ensure that we can have these electoral reforms in time before the 2027 general election? Let me put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, that since the 2017, when the presidential election was cancelled through a presidential petition, we have not have a an overhaul of our electoral reforms. We have not had any substantive electoral reforms. Remember the ones that we had tried to do in last election cycle or died with the BBI. Right now, as we speak, we do not have them. Yes, there was a NADCO reforms, and NADCO was numerous. On NADCO report, there are quite a number of the bills that are coming in through. There is also the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, there's AIBC Amendment Bill that went through and was enacted, and we saw the appointing of the commissioners. We have the Elections Amendment Bill that is still before this, has moved from the Senate to the National Assembly. We have the National Government Coordination Amendment Bill, Electoral Offences Bill, and Political Parties Amendment Bill that is intended to remove the Office of Register of Political Parties into a commission. The question is, are these bills in a position that we can realize them before 2027? And because of time, I know there are so many gaps also within the Chapter 7 of the Constitution, of which there's quite a number of areas that are still lingering that we don't know where their position. For example, the referendum bill, the election campaign finance bill, or one of the participants alluded to it, the legislation implementation of two-third gender rule. Those are the areas that we think we need to have a way of which we can move forward and going forward that we can handle them. The most important thing is, what are the effective legal reform monitoring tools that we can engage? What are the areas that we can really think as a people to ensure that these bills are passed on time? According to what we think from where we sit is that we must have a way to build a synergy between all institutions that are involved in the electoral reforms to have all these things put into one. For example, as we speak, IBC has got legal proposals. The Office of Register of Political Parties also have legal proposals. Even the civil society under it's called the Uchaguzi platform, they also have their proposals. At what point will these proposals pass so that we can have one electoral bill? And to save on time, ladies and gentlemen, because I know we do not have time, based on the bill tracker, I will share this with the Uraia team. We have placed where the stages at which all these bills are at. And we have also made some proposals of which we can do so that we can have these bills passed before the next general election. Remember, we have had two presidential petitions. In 2017, we had a presidential petition. In 2022, we had a presidential petition, of which the Supreme Court also gave their mandates, what their recommendations on electoral reforms that have not been done. We are having a situation where we must also integrate the electoral in our technology into our elections. We cannot do it without a proper legal framework. How can we do it so that we can approach this 2027 generation together to come into those issues that we are looking on, the civic education and so forth on issues that surround the elections. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is where we are as a country in terms of election and democracy and the status of legal reforms as we move forward, but we are not as late as it is. The fundamental question, for example, of the boundaries delimitation, there is a constitutional question that is always coming into people's lips, that what is the constitutionality basis of the 2027 general election if at all we do not do the boundary delimitation? Because if you read Article 88, Article 89, it's a mandatory requirement. Will the 2027 election be constitutionally based, properly based, if at all we do not do the boundary delimitation? Those are the questions that we should now be engaging one-on-one with the electoral governing bodies, with the only institutions involved. That what about it? Will it be valid, constitutionally valid, to have an election in 2027 without boundary delimitation? Otherwise, that is the situation we are in. And I think with this kind of engagement through Uraia and the proper engagement of the IBC governing body, I think we will have an answer to it proper enough, early enough before we go to the next gen. Otherwise, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and I think we are here for anything. Okay.
Thank you so much, Bwana Bon Makolwal. Please give him a round of applause. So we've talked to IBC on election preparedness, and he's brought to fore electoral law. Two questions, preferably from people who've not asked questions before, to Bon, and then we can move to the next section.
Thank you for this opportunity. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ian Cairo. I'm affiliated to USIU. I'm a researcher in public participation in AI. My question is that you've discussed that it's now individual roles that need to be applied, especially in enacting electoral reforms. I have a big issue, especially when news and other outlets discuss leaders who are incumbents having sort of court cases or ethical concerns. And a lot of young people are hesitant of going to vote because of why are we voting someone who has an ethical concern. And it's important that young people need to get this trust, especially in the institutions, and it must also start from us. So as a recommendation is, do we as young people look at the leaders who we want to vote for? Are we just listening to their campaigns, or are we also looking at their track records? And also, is there a way to emphasize this ethical importance that leaders who are safeguarded by the law are innocent until proven guilty, but also they have a trust deficit to the public? How do we recognize this, and how do we enact this as we also enter into elections and also as we choose our future leaders? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ian, another question? Yes. So these are directed to you, Bon.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. My name is Muita. I work with the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. My question goes to Bon and also Ruth. We have talked about the trust deficit, as my brother here has spoken about. This is a software problem. Is the problem around the hardware, and how much does the lack of trust cost us in elections? Because we can print ballot papers anywhere in the world, but we don't trust ourselves. How much do we spend in this particular process to ensure that we have a process that people can actually call it credible as elections? And what will IEBC do to ensure that the institutions that carry our elections, including political parties, really have the trust that can be able to enable Kenyans to have credible elections, that results will be taken as they are and be accepted?
Thank you. So final question from our senior, Ambassador Julius.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. A very simple. I regard this myself as a conversation. Not that we must answer. Must have questions like a classroom. It's a conversation. And Ruth, I look at you as a person we should have a conversation with. Really, that's a conversation. It's not some question and answer and who wins. No, it's a conversation. And what Paul has just presented to you, to me, is at the core. It's at the core of our conversation, which is it possible for us to have a credible election for Kenya in 2027? That is the question. Within the boundaries of the constitutional limits as set out. Is it possible? I'm saying this because, and I made this observation, I think, when we met somewhere, and we asked that at one time, you may wish to engage NEET, just to have a conversation, because so far, we have not had a credible election in Kenya, in the history of Kenya. Therefore, is it possible that this time, with the issues that have been raised by Paul, that we might break that jinx and have a credible election in 2027? Finally, when we look at you, I'm talking about Ruth now, and the commission. Yeah, as the commission, you are Kenyans in that commission, and we look at you. I mean, you might have a conversation. You belong to one of the 12 constitutional commissions in chapter 15. You are one of those. We need to want to engage you as a group. If I remember your opening remarks today, you said, our mandate, and you quoted the mandate. I was listening very carefully because you know I have to respect you. But you see, Ruth, you didn't mention that your mandate as spelled out in that constitution at Article 249(1)(a), B, and C are the following. On the basis of that mandate, these are our strategies. I was uncomfortable. Why? Because that mandate, 249(a), B, and C, constitute the Kenyan national interest. That's the basis of that. That's why you were created, to protect the Kenya national interest following that mandate. If you don't quote it and align it to the national interest, then I don't know where to begin a discussion. And that's a conversation that we want to have, not really minor things. So it is that mandate very clearly spelled, and that mandate says that it's your duty as a commission, among the other commissions, to protect the Kenyan national interest using that mandate. I hope I'm making sense. That's the conversations I would like us to have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Bon, I'll ask you to answer the two questions that have been raised, and then Madam Ruth, you're very good at putting all the questions together and summarizing with one answer. So Bon, please, maybe you can take the podium just for visual purposes, and we can see you as you address some of the issues that have been raised from your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll take the shortest time so that I can contribute my some of my time to Ruth, because I think the appetite for you is quite much. Individual role, court cases, ethical vetting. I think in this question there were quite a number of concerns. Yes, there is then this, what we have to do with individual roles as citizens. We have really to come out and ask ourselves what is really our individual role. And if you can hear from the senior, what he's trying to say is that there have never been a credible election in the history of this country. But what about if we sit down as Kenyans and say that in 2027, we want to make a change and send it differently? So that is where the individual role really comes from. Our role is just not to come and vote. Our democracy has evolved. It is no longer procedural. It is substantive. It must be seen to serve our desires as a people, not just to wake up and have leaders. On the issue, and that is, will address the issue of ethical and vetting process. We have to relook. Remember, we have not relooked into our electoral laws for the longest time. 2017 died with the BBI. One of the areas that we really need to look at is our vetting and ethical procedures. It cannot just be that if you have a case in court, I tell you, I don't think as it is today that we'll ever have a mechanism, if that clause is not looked into, to have people without cases contesting. Now our laws that it is does not put this responsibility to anybody. IBC says it's anti-corruption, and corruption say that it's under LJS, there's a program that we are running under CASP to relook into this, to think that how can we help Kenyans from this yoke of having unethical leaders thinking, and it is through illicit money, corruption, how can we remove this corrupt money in our electoral system? And if we achieve that, I think we'll have an answer to that. Muita's question was, my brother, I think you just went through me, but your aim of the club was on on Ruth. I'll give my time for Ruth to answer that. Ambassador, I'll listen to you. Senior Ambassador, I'll listen to you very carefully. I've engaged you. We have engaged quite a number of places. And I think this is the right time that we must take the bull by its horns, that Kenyans must come to one consensus, that kindly, our democracy has now grown. We are no longer a toddler. And I can tell you, one of the things that I really wanted to present on is that how can you gauge a democracy that has grown? The tests and indicators of such democracy, because we have consolidated, allow me to read this very carefully. One, we have a durable, functioning electoral management body. We have one of the best electoral management bodies in Africa, anywhere over the world. We know how to appoint our commissioners. We have a strong and robust secretariats within the IBC. So that one, we have passed that test. The second test that you have really know that your democracy has really matured is two, we have institutionalized political parties. So many countries in Africa are struggling to get on how to register political parties. In Kenya, we have a robust way of registering and monitoring our political parties. So we passed that test, Churchill, you can tell me. Third is that we have a robust electoral dispute resolution processes. In this country, we have nullified a presidential election through a constitutional means, through our judiciary. And that one alone, we have passed that test. And the last one, we have 2 consecutive turnovers of our power, or peaceful transition. What else do we need to say that our democracy has really grown? What else do we really need? We have all this, and we have tested this. The only thing that we need to ask is, what is now our role to have this substantive democracy going forward? People like Raila fought for procedural democracy, putting the institutions. Those institutions are now in place. We must see that Kenyans are governed as per our desires, as per the desires of the youth, as per the desires of the old, as per the desires of the women in the village. Everybody must feel involved in how we are governed. And that is the test of substantive democracy that I think we should now be rooting for. Tanzanians are still fighting for kind of toddler type of democracy. With us, I think we have grown. Thank you so much.
So much. Thank you so much, Bon. A round of applause to him, very eloquently put together. Yes, Madam Ruth, bring this ship home.
Thank you. And I'll use this opportunity to also respond to my sister Miriam. I think I skipped your 2 questions. I must admit what Ambassador has said. Yes, it's a conversation. But I also asked questions. I had to respond to them, isn't it? In fact, I just mentioned the main mandate. Otherwise, Article 88 spells like 11 mandates for the commission. 249, yes, emphasizes A, B, and C, what the role of the commission, independent commissions, is all about. But again, if we are to speak about that, it will take a whole day. So that's why I just narrowed myself on what I was to speak about this morning. But I must say this, that what Mr. Mark Olwal has said is very true. The commission, as it is right now, we have done our best. In 2022, we have not come out to tell Kenyans exactly what we did. All the contested positions, 98.2%, went through. No gubernatorial, no senatorial petition was taken to court and succeeded. Presidential did, and Magarini, and 2 county assembly wards. So the commission has been fair at its work. Yeah. And I don't want to blow our own trumpet, but I think Makolol has put it the way it's supposed to be. Otherwise, we have engaged various institutions. We have engaged political parties, liaison committee. We have engaged SIGs. We have engaged state and non-state actors. And we still continue. So what I can say from the commission point of view, we'll continue engaging. We'll continue the conversation so that come 2027 we are together. And again, as Mr. Olwal has put it, we are actually between a hard place and a rock. We do the boundaries, we have a problem. We don't do the boundaries, again, we have a problem. So we have to do something in between and ensure that we conclude, we conclude something on boundaries. And as I said, we are going to announce to the public very soon on our way forward. And on our sister Mariam, about the campaign finance, this act was passed in 2013. And it is Parliament that was to give us a go-ahead. We have done it and done it and done it. But now, lastly, the court told us all we need to do is have a stakeholder engagement with the public. Yeah? And proceed with it. So we are hoping that we'll be able to do this between now and August 2027, rather 2026, so that we can proceed the campaign finance in 2027. Sawa sawa. Then about the certificates, yes, the commission had come up with a threshold that to be a governor, you must have a degree. To be a president, you must have a degree. Yeah? To be an MP, you must have at least Form 4 certificate or a diploma, whatever it is. But all these things were thrashed out by court. You remember the Sakaja case? Yeah? So even as we speak right now, governors do not need to have a degree. They just need to have yes, exactly. So certificates are not there. It's only the presidential one that is still standing. Are we together? Yeah, so there's nothing the commission can do. It is us Kenyans to have a conversation. What leaders do we want to have in our offices or to leaders, isn't it? Because again, the public always blames the commission that we are giving bad leaders. But remember, these leaders are given to us through primaries or political parties, isn't it? So we cannot produce our own candidates. So even you, through political parties or independent candidates, give us good candidates and we'll give you good leaders. So we may blame each other, but at the end of the day, we need to share the blame. Sawa. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause, please. Madam Ruth, you've handled the fire with so much grace. Thank you so much. I know it was last minute you being asked to step in, but I think you are the right replacement. You've eased our hearts a little bit, but most importantly, you have created a lot of awareness and demystified. Suba Churchill, we don't have time. I'm really sorry. It is... allow me, please. My seniors, please allow me. Field Marshal, you can give a vote of thanks. You're done giving the vote of thanks? Okay. My worry is anyone who comes from this table adds 10 minutes. So allow me to time your vote of thanks, our Honorable Boaz. And then after the Boaz has spoken, we are going to have a tea break. We have, in adult learning, we need a bit of break. It's been talk. Since 8, for those who came early, we're going to have a tea break strictly starting our next panel at 11:30. We have 2 panels back to back because we have eaten into our tea break. So I'll allow Boaz to give a vote of thanks, and then we'll go for our tea break and we will start at 11:30. So I've put a bit of pressure on you, Boaz. You are the link between us and tea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can't even stand here. Madam Ruth Kulundu, pongezi sana. And for those who may not know, she was already thrown out of the IPC because of a job well done. If you see some people struggling to pull out somebody, get to know that that person could be doing something wonderful. Hongera, and thanks for coming. 2, the commission IBC has great people of integrity and all that. The problem that could be coming is how do you firewall the commission from other interests which normally crop up. And I know this could be part of the conversation initiated by Uraia that needs to be undertaken, because all the good work that you do. Just a small thing then throws the dust on the face of the entire commission. I don't have to give examples. For example, you go to inspect materials, on coming back, Mombasa and Kakamega emerge with crazy stuff. You're smiling now. You see? It's because there are other interests which will always come. So we say we know the competency within that commission. Please safeguard it in the national interest. I hope the ambassador said. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's give another round of applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to tea. We start our next session at 11:30. Madam Ruth, please hang on a bit. This is now the table for hot topics. You've got any direct question that may have missed through Q&A, please come and see her at her table. She has agreed to discuss with you one-on-one. Asante sana, media team, tupatie ngoma ya election.
Silence will speak louder than fear. The ballad is our weapon. Peaceful, powerful, unstoppable. One voice, one vote. Uganda. It's our time.
Too long we've been waiting in the shadows of pain. Dreams stolen, hearts broken, but hope remains. They try to silence our truth, they try to blind our eyes, but the fire of freedom, it never dies.
They can lock the streets, but not the spirit inside. We rise in peace with our hearts open wide.
One voice, one voice.